Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a super sloppy sports and entertainment podcast that's hosted by a giant mess. That's me, the real cinch, Neal Lynch. I'm a former college quarterback and pitcher with a film and media studies degree, and now I'm a single dad who loves to talk New York Giants football, Mets baseball, movies, TV, and comedy. I also like to mix in some life stories here and there. And hot damn, are you in luck? Because I got a ton of life stories here for you within this episode. I'm going to talk about meeting up with my old high school girlfriend to catch up on glory days, how it took me so many failed attempts to buy sneakers, going on multiple house tours and getting absolutely demoralized about the current state of affairs in real estate, also going to the Garfield movie with my daughter, giving my thoughts on that. We also went to the Renaissance Faire, my first time at the Renaissance Faire, quite possibly my last time at the Renaissance Faire. And then wrap things up with my thoughts on the Jungle Book. We went to see the Jungle Book play at a local community college. We then watched the animated movie from the 60s and then the live action movie from 2015, 2016. So without further ado, let us get it started up in hell. May was, whatever. There was the spring picnic at her school. There's a pizza food truck. She was running around like crazy. I couldn't keep up with her. Asked her if she wanted pizza. She said no. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to get some pizza. I stood in line and paid $20 for this friggin' pizza. I scarfed it down because I was starving. And then she's like, yeah, where's the pizza? I'm like, oh, the pizza that you didn't want. Nice. All right. Let's see what you did there. Very cool. Next day was kite day at Terhune Orchards, and it was raining. So there were not a lot of people out. Most of them, it was like off and on rain. So people were like going undercover, coming out, going undercover, coming out. Tried to buy some food there. And it was like, that was such a shit show trying to buy food at this place. It's just like, I don't know where I got it from or why I need so much order and structure. But it's lame and I hate it. It's like I need signs everywhere, and it can't be little signs on the side. It has to be in my face, largest font possible. And even then, it's like you need to walk me through what these words say, okay? Because it's a really open to interpretation. So yeah, I bungled that big time, and she just wants everything. Can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have this? Can I have that? I'm like, and you get it for her and she doesn't use it or like it or want it or play with it or eat it. And you're like, oh, what are you becoming? You monster. Yeah, I went to the sports practice the next day and it was like, I think it was raining at that sports practice too. That was like, she was one of 3 kids there. It was a downpour. They were trying to play t-ball. The one kid is like, hitting her with the bat, knocking over her water bottles on Water Island, throwing the balls, hitting the teacher with the bat. It's just like, I think we've done more. We have not done no good here. We've done more harm than good with this sports practice. I ended up meeting up with a girl I went to high school with for drinks at down the street at this bar that's severely overpriced. And they don't know how to serve people who need drinks. I'll just say that. Like, if you're a bartender, bartend. And I know I've never been a bartender, and I know I'm a bartender's worst enemy. But like, if you see a glass, it's empty, and I've also put it towards you, like, I mean, they checked in nonstop the first 5 to 10, 15 minutes we were there. Nonstop checking in. You know what you want? 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 And it was just like, we just, like, you can tell, like, can you read people? We just sat down. We're catching up. We're talking. And then after that first 15-minute surge, it's like once you order your food or your drink, forget about it ordering anything else after that. It's like, we're just not, we've like, I don't get it. I don't know. It was a good meetup, good catch up. we went to high school together. I guess we technically dated. Technically, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, anyone who knows me knows I didn't have my first kiss until college, so we did not. It was you know, I don't even want to say a young puppy love. That's like what? No, that's not what it was. But I think we did like each other a lot, and we did some stuff together. Not like not that kind of stuff. Jesus, come on, guy. We went on dates and stuff. So it's just it's good. I mean, as much as I am a hermit, and I'd rather just sit on the couch and watch TV, which I know all the ladies crave. I like how that's also the other thing on dating apps. It's like they lead with, I like to go out and dress up, but I'm also comfortable cuddling on the couch. It's like, I feel like they don't like that, but they added that in there and threw that in there just so you're not like, oh shit, I'm going to have to dump so much money on this broad going to all kinds of things. And if you're getting dressed up, that usually means it's formal and expensive. Great. She's got her, as much as I say I like to be alone and just watch TV on the couch. It was nice to meet up with her and just talk some stuff out. It's nice to know that she's not in the same boat as I am, but she's got her own, stuff that she's working through. So it was good to talk it out, I guess. So that was we were there for a while. I had a few drinks, but she's been bouncing back and forth between New Jersey and Colorado. I think they're now back in Colorado. She was moving back to Colorado like right after we met up. And I think she's just happier there. That's her spot. That's her place. It's where she's able to make friends and have a social life, which I guess she didn't really have here in the New Jersey area. Or it was actually Pennsylvania. Would you like her address? Jesus. So yeah, I mean, everyone's going through their own shit for the most part. It's just that some people are really good at either concealing that or just not sharing it. I know that's like a major thing is like, don't tell anyone, hold your cards close to your chest and don't tell anyone anything. It's like, all right, I don't know. It's tough. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't know. I guess just talk about other people. She probably was in the seventh ring of hell listening to my fucking story about that goddamn breakup it's just no one, I don't know that anyone enjoys that. So I don't know why I talk about it. I guess in some weird way, I'm hoping that if I talk about it enough to enough people, someone will have the answer. Like, oh, there's this new pill. Or, I know someone. That's the other thing. Like, it's been a year since I went to that wedding in Virginia, and I went to Block Island for the week. And I had two different friends try and set me up with two different women, and it was poorly received. If you remember that episode where I talked about that, and I think people caught wind of that, and they're like, "All right, Neal, you don't like who we're sending your way? We're not going to send anyone your way. That's it. No more hookups, no more matchmaking from us." And it's like, I get it. I should talk to you, and I'm paying the price. So on top of that, trying to, get over the hurdle, trying to do stuff for my daughter, which is, I feel like I'm failing left and right. These house tours that I've been going on house tours for a while. It was like any free weekend I had, every other weekend I was going to see some houses. And every time I'd be so disappointed, just so disappointed. I mean, there was one house that was a corner lot, not that huge, but I don't need huge, right? Had a good yard, but it's like missing a dishwasher. There's always like the first few houses I looked at, it was like, I don't have enough money to fix any of this shit. And I'm not a handyman, so hard pass. And then there was this house that I was close to pulling the trigger on in terms of making an offer. And I was like, there's no dishwasher. This is weird. That's weird. This is weird. That's weird. But it was the best house I've seen so far. Like, am I going to see another house like this? I don't know. No one knows the future. So like, maybe I should make an offer and like, I can live with it. You know, I can deal with it, but no dishwasher. that's nuts. And then there was another house I just saw a couple weeks ago, I think. And it was like part of an estate sale. And it was like, again, nice sized yard. It was exactly what I was looking for. Had checked all the boxes. The inside was severely outdated. I don't know why everyone thought we need carpets in every room and they each had to be a different color. The fuck is going on in this house? But it was like, that's like cosmetic stuff. I feel like I can get past that. And so I was close to pulling the trigger on making an offer there. But it would have been like way above, not way above, but beyond my means, my budget. And then it would have to, all the stuff that I'd have to fix and whatnot, either have to do it, suck it up and like, you know, empty out the chamber, the tank there just to get it to the place you want right away, or you have to chip away at it over the years, which can be annoying. But so I passed on that too. And then, you know, this is the time where I should be looking hard at houses because the lease, I got to let my building know like by the end of August, I think, whether or not I'm sticking around again for another year. So I should be doing full court press now because then, you know, I could have the closing date before I'm supposed to have my lease expires. It's up. And then I emailed, I emailed the building and I was like, hey, how much would it cost to break my lease early, to end my lease early? And they're like, oh, well, it would cost you. And then it was like, oh, an arm, a leg, the other leg. Oh, and the other arm. Oh, in my ears for some reason. Interesting. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, why even give that option? Why even give that option? So yeah, those house tours have been so brutal. I brought Bree to a couple and she was just touching everything and climbing on everything. Another one, it was like, you can't go in the backyard because there are dogs back there and the dogs have been barking their balls off ever since I've arrived. There are so many investment opportunities and handyman specials. And like most of these houses that were built, I guess in the 50s or before, like way back, why are the steps so small and so steep? What is going on there? Did they just climb stairs in a different way back then? Were they really that much smaller back then? Like I could barely get my toes and the balls of my feet onto the step. Like I don't have big feet. I have size 12, which you know, I don't know if I want to get into shoe sizes and that whole debacle. But you know, I could barely fit my foot on it. And they're like, watch the steps, really steep, really small. It's like, what? Why? Why did they do this? Maybe it's to prevent people from going upstairs. It's like, that's my private space. And these steps will foil you big time. But speaking of feet, I bought new sneakers. Finally. You know, I've had the same pair of sneakers since Christmas of 2020. So that's like almost 4 years now. And they are Raggedy Ann and Andy, big time. Like, just don't look great. So I thought, all right, I'll get a nice fresh pair of kicks. Maybe that'll get me running again, which it has a little bit. And I went with the Nike Revolution 7 Wide. This is the first wide shoes that I've purchased because I do have feet that get swollen all the goddamn time. Just Cankle City. I had exchanged these shoes 3 fucking times. I don't know what is going on with shoe sizes, but I have been a 12, shoe size 12, my entire adult life. I buy 12, it fits every time because it's a 12. somehow 12s are not a 12 across the board for every company. This is where my need for like order, structure, and regulation come into play, that I know is like, oh man, just gets everyone nice and moist and all horned up. But like, why can't clothing sizes and shoe sizes be the exact same across the board for every company? Like, why is that not a universal thing? Like, you're a size 12. Okay, a size 12 is exactly this length. I got a size 12, and there was literally like a full 2 toes worth of space at the front of the friggin' shoe. And I'm saying to myself, did my fucking feet shrink? Like, I had a moment where it was like, whoa, what happened? And I went and got all my other shoes. I tried them all on. They're all size 12. They all fit. So I was like, why is this happening? So you have to call. So I tried to return it on, exchange it online. They're like, you have to call this number. It's like, of course you do. Of course you do. Can't just go to a web page and fill out the information, right? So I get on the phone. I'm like, yeah, I've been a size 12 my whole life. These are size 12. They do not fit. And she's like, so you want 11 and a half? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I don't know if I should go that much. Like, do I go to 11? Do I go to 10 and a half? Like, I don't think I should be dropping that much. So I said 11, yes to 11 and a half. It comes way too much space in the front. So then I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to go to the store. So I go to the store, and that was a fiasco. Where it was just like, I think I want a size 11. I think I do. I'm a size 12, but for some reason, this particular shoe decided to get all fucking weird on me. So, and I went so far as to take pictures and record video of comparing these new shoes that are supposedly a size 11 and a half with like my other shoes, which are size 12. And what was I going to do with that shit? Like, what the fuck? Like, post it on my socials and it'll go viral, and then Nike will have to issue a statement. Like, what was the thought process behind that? I don't know. But that sucked. I mean, they're pretty good. They do the job. They feel good, so still feels like they're too big. And maybe that's because they're wides, and I've never done a wide before. I also bought my daughter a new bed from Helix. They are not a sponsor. I'm not promoting them. I'm not plugging them. But I did buy her a new bed, and I got her the full. I was like, fuck it. Because she was sleeping in a Paw Patrol bed, which was like the same mattress from her crib that she slept in as a baby. She was still sleeping in that almost at the age of 6 in this Paw Patrol bed. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna position this as like it's a reward or a gift for passing kindergarten. Like, good job, good work. Here's $1,000 bed. So I was like, do I really want to get a twin? And then I'm gonna have to, like, she's gonna outgrow that in a couple years, and I'll have to get a full. Anyways, let's just get the full. Just get it now. This company claims that these beds last about 10 years. In 10 years, you'll be 15. Do you even need a new bed at that point? Just suck it up. Maybe we won't even be sleeping in the kind of beds we're sleeping in now, because it's the future. And we'll be sleeping in oxygen chambers. Like Michael Jackson. So yeah, I got her the bed, which I guess she likes a lot. I think she definitely is not coming into my bed as much at night, which is good. So I think it must be comfortable enough for her in there that she feels good enough to stay the whole night, which is good. But a full bed, is it a bit too big for a 5-year-old? Of course, but she's gonna grow, and I think it takes up the entire room. I mean, like, there's like zero space on the side of the bed, and I try to rearrange some shit, and it's just like, nope. No matter how much I Jenga this and Tetris this, it's just not happening. So it's a little bit of weird setup right now, but I guess she doesn't mind it too much. I ended up switching from Green Chef to EveryPlate. because it's way cheaper. It's like $66 a box for me. And they could not figure out how to get the boxes to my address. Like I've talked about it before. I don't know. My history with deliveries sucks, and EveryPlate just kept fucking up, delivering it one time, just not delivering it at all. I don't know where the fuck that box went, and then another time delivering, like every other time, delivering it to the complete wrong address. I mean, Grubhub is the same too. Like I've really dialed back the food delivery and takeout. And I've been trying to cook more and eat more stuff that I have around the house, which has helped. But you cave in every once in a while. And I remember I ordered from Grubhub and I'm like, cross your fingers, because it's not like Uber Eats. Uber Eats, they have the pin. You can adjust the pin and boom, my apartment is right fucking here, dude. You cannot miss it. Just go to that pin. Grubhub doesn't have it. And you're like, well, why don't you use Uber Eats? Because like apparently if you're a Prime member, which I am, hold the applause, you get Grubhub for free, Grubhub Plus for free or some shit, like $0 delivery charges and waived fees and all that stuff. So I was like, all right, I'll use Grubhub, even though they have a horrific track record of delivering to the right place. So this one guy, it's raining, I'm starving. Again, I took way too long to pick my dinner, which is like par for the course. And I can see this guy struggle bus central. Like he cannot figure it out. And I feel like my instructions are clear, but I guess it's a little bit too much. You know, people don't like to read. And so I text him. I'm like, hey, here's how you get to my apartment. And then he just he writes back something in Spanish. I call him. He says, no speak English. And I'm like, that is out fucking outrageous. Okay, boomer, I get it. Old man rant incoming. Watch it. Protect your neck. How are you a delivery driver and you can't speak English? So I called a couple times. And so basically, I was like, bueno, hung up and ended up having to go to Google Translate, putting in what I was trying to tell him into the Google Translate machine and then copying whatever it spat out in Spanish. And I mean, I took 10 years of goddamn Spanish and I still can't speak the fucking language. So copy and paste into the text message. And he's still circling the wrong friggin' place. And then all of a sudden I see like I get a notification, your box has been delivered. Congratulations. And I was just like, no, it has not. Nope, not even a little bit. So I had to walk. It was good to get some steps in, not gonna lie. But I had to walk across the entire complex to get to my box. And I think I ended up calling him again. And I think someone else picked up. It sounded like the car was full of people. So it doesn't speak English, full of people. Like why are there so many people in this car for this food deliverer? I don't know. And so I go find the box, and some other guy comes out of the woodworks and is just like speaking in broken English and like trying to apologize. Like I'm sorry. I'm just like whatever, dude. No, apology not accepted. Like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? There's got to be better ways to earn a buck. So I had to cancel EveryPlate. And now every time I order Grubhub, I automatically put on my shoes and I assume that I'm going to have to walk to them to meet them on the other side of friggin' complex, which again, not that long a distance. It's like could be a good 10-minute walk, 5 to 10 minute walk. It's not the walking that I mind. It's like trying to walk to them as like trying to hit a moving target. Like they're moving. They're like panicking because they just don't know how to read my instructions, or they don't read the instructions. And so then, yeah. And then you have to there's that moment where it's like, who's this guy? Why is he approaching me? So yeah, Memorial Day weekend was fine. I took my daughter to mini golf. I believe this is the first time we went to mini golf. By the way, there's 0 miniature golf around this fucking area. I don't understand this area at all. I don't remember this being a thing when I lived here before in high school, where it's like, wait, you're telling me you don't have any places like this in the area? Any? Like miniature golf is nowhere near me. So I have to drive. It's a good like 7 miles away or something like that. It's a great place. I mean, they say they're an award-winning miniature golf course or something like that. But this is the second time I went mini golfing with her, and she didn't quit, so that was good. The first time she just quit after like the first hole. She like refused to do it, did it for a hole or two, and then stopped. And then here, the second time she completely holding the club wrong, which I don't mind at all. It's like, just do you. You're just supposed to have fun. I'm not going to get into like, what is it, Earl Woods mode, Tiger Woods' dad, and just like coach the fuck out of you at age 5. Like, that's not. I just want you to have fun first, and then we'll correct the technicalities there later. So she's pretty good. I mean, she's essentially holding the club like Happy Madison. You know, like when when she's putting, she's definitely holding it like a hockey stick. But I'm just like, whatever. It worked for Happy. It'll work for you. Be on the lookout for that Subway endorsement. So she's actually pretty good. Like, you know, some holes she's hitting like a 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever, but there's some holes where she's hitting a 3. She hit a 2 the last time we went, and then she likes to do this thing where I'll putt and then she'll putt my ball in. So I usually do the initial putt and then no more putts after that, which I don't mind. I really don't. If she's having that much fun that she wants to take my turns, hell yeah. We have run into the issue though of late where I think that one time over Memorial Day weekend we went, there was like no one there, so it was perfect. Like you can go at your own pace, right? I figure we're gonna be so slow, we're gonna hold people up. And complete opposite of that, she is like speed golf to the point where we've like leapfrogged or went ahead of just about everyone on the course. But 18th hole, I got it in. So 18th hole, traditionally mini golf is like the toughest hole. And if you get a hole in one, you get a prize or some shit. And this is my first time mini golfing in a long time, since Christmas 2021 down in South Carolina. And knocked it in first try. Hole in one, and you get a free game. And I was like, that feels thank you. I'm grateful. Hashtag blessed. So grateful that you gave me a free free round of golf, which is 18 holes of miniature golf, which is worth like $7, $9. Thank you. But that feels that hole in one that I just hit, where like literally there's a ramp that is maybe the width of the ball, and maybe it has to be just wide enough for the ball to get up it. So that's, I mean, you know, you're talking not a huge space, and you're 30 feet back. Does that seem too far? You're pretty far back. So I figured like hole in one, I should get like, I don't know, a hot dog. So that was cool that I won that. Like, I don't think Bree fully acknowledged or was aware of like the significance of that, but that was cool. We went to On the Border. I think we decided to walk to we decided to friggin' walk to the movie theater, into the mall where the movie theater is, and ended up getting some food at On the Border. And man, that place has nosedove. I remember On the Border being the shit when I was in my 20s, mid 20s. Like there was an On the Border, I guess along Route 1 near Rutgers. And my ex lived near there, Metuchen maybe. And so we used to go On the Border like at least once a month. And I was like, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that, this and this. And you just pig the fuck out. And it was great. Now, is it top notch, grade A plus Mexican food? No, dude. But it still did the job. And then I would order On the Border delivery when we lived in Wayne up north. And that usually was okay. It was not as good as I remembered it. And then my daughter and I have been On the Border a couple times now. and at this place near us at the mall, and it's just fucking awful. It's just so bad. I did the worst possible order. It was like Big Poppy's platter or some bullshit. And I was like, all right, I feel like I'm getting a lot of bang for my buck here. Should have just gone with the Big Poppy's. Yeah, I don't know what the hell it's called. Big Poppy's, whatever. Oh, the Gran Poppy. It's a flauta, a taco, an enchilada, a quesadilla, empanadas. Yeah. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. 6 things on one plate. And they all stunk. They were all so bad. And I was like, we're off to a hot start. And then, of course, my daughter didn't really eat anything of her dinner. So, of course, I ate most of hers. She had the chicken tenders. So I had the chicken tenders. And then why not throw a large bucket of popcorn on top of that? We went to see the Garfield movie. I used to love Garfield as a kid. I owned a lot I don't know what happened to those books. I wonder where they are. But like comic strip books, I don't know if you would call it comic books because it wasn't when you picture a comic book, it's not that. It's like an actual soft cover book, but it has the comic strips in them. All right. I used to get those for Garfield and Far Side. My affinity for Garfield is a little weird because it's like I don't like cats for the most part. So why do I like this cat? Is it because he houses lasagna and he hates Mondays? Is that it? Is that really all I need? So yeah, we went to see the Garfield movie. Chris Pratt voices Garfield. Samuel L. Jackson voices Garfield's dad, long lost, estranged dad, which I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a very cheap but effective tactics because I can smell it from a mile away. I'm like, okay, I understand it's gonna get emotional, and it's like I know the scene that's gonna happen, and yet that scene still happens, and I still tear up a little bit. It still gets me. Fucking A. But yeah, not well reviewed, not well received. Critics hated it, audiences hated it. I didn't mind it. I mean, this might be a hot take, but I laughed. We also saw Despicable Me 4. I laughed more in the Garfield movie than I did in Despicable Me 4. And Despicable Me 4, not well liked by critics, but like beloved by audiences. So like more than 90% of audience members gave it favorable reviews. What? Higher than like Despicable Me and Minions Rise of Gru, which I think are 2 of the higher rated ones. I don't know if 2 or 3 were that highly rated, Despicable Me, but yeah, Minions Rise of Gru I know was highly rated, and Despicable Me, the original, was highly rated. And this was the worst reviewed by critics, but yet the best reviewed by audiences. I'm like, what did audiences particularly like about this movie? Anyway, the Garfield movie, it's basically his dad is back in his life after leaving and abandoning him as a little kitten. That's when he finds John Arbuckle, and Arbuckle falls for him, brings him in, and spoils the fuck out of him. Garfield eats like a goddamn maniac. And then there's Odie, of course. There was no what's her name? Normal? It begins with an N. I just remember that being like a huge part of the strip and also the TV show, because I think there was a Garfield and Friends animated series, which I definitely watched that. 1988, ran for 7 seasons. So yeah, I probably watched the first few seasons. But I thought there was a female cat. Yeah, normal. A gray tabby kitten with 2 small gray color ears, 2 huge eyes, blah, 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 is the tetratagonist. So I guess there's a like it's someone that bounces back and forth from protagonist and antagonist. I've never seen them a friggin' word in my life. But all I remember is like Garfield would usually trick Normal into maybe climbing into a box and then shipping her to like Siberia. There's a Deuteragonist. what is a tritagonist? A tertiary, Jesus Christ. Protagonist, main character. Deuteragonist, the second main character. Tritagonist, tertiary main character. So tetratagonist is probably the fourth main character. Dear God. Which I guess makes sense. You got Arbuckle, Garfield, Odie, Nermal. Spoiler, Nermal was not in the Garfield movie. They were like, had to save a bull to get to the thing with the thing. I don't know. So they could steal milk. I don't know. I get it. The movie, you need to have a plot, but I don't know that plot necessarily works for me. There were two scenes that I liked. There was the scene with where was it a buffalo or a bull? The bull is like explaining the heist because they're trying to steal milk, explaining the heist to the crew, and he does not like Garfield at all. So there's like a training montage, and the bull's trying to like teach them how to sneak into this what is it called, dairy farm, creamery, whatever, to steal the milk. And so he assigns everyone like a thing, like you're the pine cone, you're this, you're that, and then he assigns a dead possum to Garfield, and Garfield's like, what the fuck? What? Why do I get a dead possum? And then they basically go through an animated sequence within an animated movie. Well, but it's like a different style of animation to show you how the heist is going to play out using the items that the bull assigned. And so you see this little dead raccoon just with the X's over the eyes, just kind of floating and bouncing around throughout that sequence. And then of course, what do we know about possums? They like to play dead. And so the possum like comes back to life and is like, geez, trash talks Garfield, and Garfield's like, was this Daniel Day Possum? So that got a little giggle out of me. And then at the end, when there's like a train sequence, of course, and he's able to order delivery from his favorite restaurant, and they're delivered by drones. And so he uses the drones to attack the villain, the antagonist. So I thought there was like they started playing like the Top Gun soundtrack. I was like, that's kind of cool. I don't think it's as awful as the Rotten Tomato ratings would have it, but again, it's not like I don't think it's gonna win any awards. Razzie maybe. Let's see here. Oh, it's still in theaters, huh? 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb. Yeah, that sounds right. I think people, they tend to look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores and are like, oh, it's an 11 out of 100. No. That just means 11 out of 100 critics gave it a favorable review. So it's like favorable review. That doesn't mean like, oh, this movie sucks. It just means not a lot of people thought it was like 3.5 out of 5 stars, which is slightly above average, like, which I guess you could say means good. So is this movie good? No, but it's also not bad. It's just like, kind of right there in the middle. So the Garfield movie was okay. We went to the Renaissance Fair. My daughter and I went to the Renaissance Fair. So freaking hot. So goddamn hot. And I don't know how people do this. I mean, it was not that close. It was probably a 25-minute drive. And we get there and everyone's dressed up. And I was like, oh, I think I fucked up. Like where I'm in my shorts and polo shirt and, Bree's in shorts and a shirt. And I'm looking around and every single adult that's walking towards the entrance is dressed up in like Renaissance gear, like head to toe, not just like a long sleeve shirt and pants, which is pretty brutal as it was in that weather. Like leather all over. The one guy was like full on knight regalia. And I'm like, dude, I mean, how are you surviving in there? Do you have like mini fans? You got a cooling system in there? Central air. Of course, Bree's like, where are the games? I want to play the games because that's all she wants to do. And no games. There's like hardly any games in this whole thing. It didn't take like a full lap for me to figure this out. It took me about like 5 steps to notice and realize, oh, this is not meant for 5-year-olds. This is meant for grown ass people who want to spend their disposable income on fucking like mystic crystals and axes and swords, and armor and potions and elixirs and all that great fantasy shit from the Renaissance. This is not, most certainly not. I mean, there was like a jousting tournament, which I thought she would love. Didn't watch that. Couldn't really hear what they're saying. We did watch there was like a whip crack guy, like a guy with a whip. And he was not only cracking whips, he was cracking wise, y'all. He's cracking jokes, which they were pretty decent. And boy, it's tough watching someone tell very like, you can see it coming from a mile away jokes, like very obvious, easy jokes, and just getting like hundreds of people to laugh. Yet I worked my dick off coming up with material, and I can't even get a what. So that's tough. That's tough. So then I can't enjoy it, obviously. And I'm like, how come I can't do that? But he was pretty good. He was like cracking the whip. He was like knocking the lid off a bottle of soda and cracking open a can of soda, and it was mostly soda centric. Had to get through sodas, but he also did the cigarette too, I think, where he put the cigarette in his mouth and he was like whipping it out of his mouth. I don't know. There was another performance where like this woman, it looks like a belly dancer, a gypsy. Are we allowed to say gypsy? Probably not. Sorry. Whatever that is, whatever the term is for that now, that's what she was. And very attractive lady, but had a humongous saber. I guess you'd call it a saber, right? But like cartoonishly large saber that you would see in like Aladdin. I don't even know what. Do you know what I'm talking about? In Aladdin, the big ass sword where it's like the blade is like so wide. I don't even see it here. I don't think I'm going to see it. TBH. Nope. I don't even know what sword you call that, but she was like balancing it on her head and doing all kinds of crazy poses and balancing it on her shoulder, her body, whatnot. So she kind of dug that, was into that. I mean, the one game that they had that she liked was like the carny guy or girl taking a bunch of very small rubber ducks and just chucking them into a maze. And you got to find the rubber ducks in the maze. Just like, and they fucking ate it up and they loved it. I was just like, oh, wow. Okay. Sometimes it's the simple things. Like, don't overthink it. So I don't think we stayed there that long. I want to say an hour, maybe 2. I don't even think it was 2 hours. It was probably an hour. There were like pony rides. She didn't want to go on the pony, which was crazy. It was a unicorn. Sorry. There's a guy doing magic. They weren't into that. It's just tough, because it feels if there was like axe throwing, archery, but they can't do that. They're too young. They're too small and too young. And then there were some horses. So they did get to go up to the horse. And I think they were able to pet it a little bit. The non-unicorn horses. And her friend was there, her friend that she likes to hang out with. And her dad's a pretty cool dude. So she had fun. It is interesting, though, like the difference in her behavior when it's just me and her, and when it's her, me, and like a friend. It's like I either do not exist, or I'm just a punk ass trick jabroni that she can just dish it back to, apparently, and just like talking back and like calling me names. I'm just like, oh, cool. Is this parenting? I don't know. So we got some McDonald's on the way back, and I didn't get her the Happy Meal. So that was a whole thing. where I'm trying to like, sorry, I ordered this, I paid for this, but I actually want the Happy Meal so I can get the toy. And then of course she doesn't like the toy, she doesn't like the drink, and it's like, ah. Next day we went to see The Jungle Book at the Kelsey Theater, which is part of Mercer County Community College, which is nearby. And it was a decent performance. I don't really remember the original animated movie. It came out in the late 60s. And I don't remember. I remember the song. That's it. That's what most people remember, right? It's like, the bare necessities. Like that song. That's the only one I remember. Baloo, the big ass bear, and Mowgli. That's all I remember. Didn't really remember a lot of the plot points or whatnot. So we would go to the Kelsey Theater. Of course, she's hungry, and as soon as we get there, she's like, "I want to eat. I want something to drink." And I'm like, "They don't sell anything here," which is kind of a missed opportunity. No, like I understand this is a very small scale production. Like it was not college kids. It was kids that range in age from like, I guess my daughter's age 5 to like 12, I want to say. Maybe a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older. But it was like a local small production, probably from an acting class or acting group school. And so they didn't have any snacks. And I was just like, oh, they don't have any snacks. They don't have anything to drink. You're going to have to sit there and you're going to have to be quiet. And you're going to have to sit down. And you got to. So, but she paid attention. Luckily, it was not that long. I want to say it was like an hour. It was not an hour and a half. I think it was less than an hour and a half, which was good. Because, it's just, I think an hour is the max that you can really hold their attention. But it was a decent performance. I thought the monkeys were funny in this production. They was doing something goofy or silly. I didn't realize that the larger girl was the snake that's always trying to hypnotize people. Mowgli was like a girl. They involved a lot of the parents from the human village. That was a big part. There were like, let's say, peacocks versus flamingos, like dance-offs. Like, oh, this is an interesting little wrinkle. And there was a lot of like, they played the song from Austin Powers a lot. That kind of 60s musical soundtrack, and then they would do 60s dances, and I'm like, was this in the movie? I was just like a little confused, but they did well. They did well. I don't think anyone really forgot their lines. The kid who played the tiger was it Shah. He was feeling himself. He definitely, he wasn't just remembering his lines. I think a lot of the kids are just like trying to actively remember their lines. And so their pitch and cadence or whatever is pretty much the same, regardless of what they're saying. This kid a lot of his dialogue was emoted the same way, but it was in an interesting way. It was just like, he's trying to really act. Got to give it to him. So then that kind of piqued her interest. And I was like, there's a movie. There's actually 2 movies. There's one, which is an old school cartoon. And there's another one, which is, I've seen the old school cartoon. It's been a while. But there's also the new one where it's live action, mostly live action, where it's like, looks like you or me. But they also have these computer generated animals that look like they're real. She's like, I want to do the cartoon. I'm like, oh, I didn't think you were going to pick that. So we watch it. And of course, it's on Disney Plus, and the disclaimer comes up that like, you're about to see some offensive shit. Like not in those words, but like there are portrayals that are negative stereotypes or cliches that are people will find offensive. But we felt like that it's unedited. We feel like it'll be an interesting conversation for people to have after watching it. It's like, okay, whoa, I don't remember it being that offensive. What the fuck? I'm like, oh no. It's just like every cartoon I saw prior to 2010 offensive. Like everything just had something over the top offensive, I guess. And I'm watching it and I'm like, all right. And the whole time I'm like asking AI, like, why is the Jungle Book 1968 animated movie so offensive? And I guess it's the scene with the monkeys where the monkey is voiced by a black man and all the monkeys are into jazz and doing like they're dancing to the jazz music, and that supposedly, and they are, I guess, the antagonists to a certain extent because they're trying to kidnap Mowgli. So then, yeah, I guess it's a negative portrayal of African Americans. On top of that, so that was pretty offensive, and to some people. I don't think my 5-year-old didn't pick up on that. And then the fact that it's a Indian-based story narrative, and it's all like white people voicing the characters, including Mowgli. So that was the other offensive part. Which, I mean, I don't know that my 5-year-old was able to pick up on the fact that there was all white people voicing the characters. And then the fact that we're all British too, which I think that, I could see why the Indian community would be like fucking pissed about that. It's like, we got our independence from those assholes, and now you're going to voice our people. So that I get, but that disclaimer, man, it really puts you on edge. You're like, whoa, what the fuck am I about to watch? Like, what's happening? And then it's like, oh, well, okay. I guess, yeah, some people might find it offensive and be really hurt by it. So then I was like, so do you still want to watch the live action one? And she was like, yeah, the live action one is awesome. It's like, I don't want to say totally different from the animated one, but the animated one is lighthearted, fun. This one, I was kind of worried because looking at the key art, the creative, the poster, the trailer, I'm like, whoa, this is not lighthearted and fun. This is a little bit more serious and dark in tone and nature and style. But she watched the whole thing and she liked it. So, they got an Indian boy to play Mowgli. He did an awesome job. And then all the animals were computer generated, but they looked pretty good. It wasn't egregious. And that came out in, I say 2015 or 2016, but I thought they looked pretty good, pretty damn good. The Christopher Walken is the voice of the big bad ape or monkey. But he's huge in this. So instead of just being like kind of normal size, he's like this gigantic monkey. It's Christopher Walken is anytime that he comes on screen or his voice is heard, it throws me off. It just throws me off. Yeah, Bill Murray was the voice of Baloo, so that was interesting and cool. Who is the Black Panther? I cannot remember, but it was not a white actor. Scarlett Johansson was the voice of the snake, I think, which was nuts. The snake was also massive in this one. So I dug it. I thought it was really great. And while the first one, the animated movie ends up with him seeing a girl and being like, ooh, like maybe I will join this human village after all. This one ends a bit differently with more of a confrontation with Khan. Is it Khan? I think it is Khan. So I got the play, the animated movie, and the live action movie all on the same day. I was Jungle Booked out. I'm surprised that live action movie didn't get a lot more pub or buzz or whatever. When people talk about a lot of these live action Disney remakes, they don't typically bring up the Jungle Book, but I thought it was pretty cool. Our holiday schedule situation is so, like, in terms of custody, is so fucked and so weird. Especially for this Memorial Day. Like, I had my daughter I usually have her either 2 days a week or it's 5 days. So it's either Wednesday, Thursday, or it's Wednesday through Sunday. I had her for 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks straight. It's just like, my ex had a wedding in Mexico, not hers. And then, there was just some other stuff that went down where like because I have Memorial Day. That means that I would have had her for 3 weekends straight. So then I was like, well, how about you take these days and then I'll take these days. And you're going away to the wedding. So it's just like so screwed. 2 weeks. And I managed, right? Fucking pat on the back. So it was May for the most part. I mean, May was whatever. All right. So that's the episode. A whole lot of movies to review. Hitman, Monkey Man, Godzilla -1. I just watched Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. Yuck. Madame Web. And then Invincible Season 2. I guess I could review that. Probably going to finish up The Boys pretty soon. Going to finish up The Acolyte, House of Dragons. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can flap gums about, dude. As for right now, I bid you adieu. Thanks for listening. Muchas gracias para viendo, for watching. And talk to you next time. Adios, muchachos.